Hey everybody, it's Ross over at the Daily Jaws. I hope you're well. Today we've got a special video for you. This week I caught up with Ben Price from South Wales, who's got one of the biggest and best Jaws collections I've ever seen. There are some absolute gems, so if you are a Jaws collector, you're not going to want to miss this.
Where are we going?
Swimming!
It's some bad hat, Harry.
It's a great white.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
700 men went into the water.
You son of a...
Ben, welcome to the Daily Jaws, and thanks so much for taking some time out to show us your collection. How are you doing today?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thanks for having me. Really excited to show off my collection.
Oh, I tell you what, honestly, you're putting me to shame when I look at your background compared to mine. You know, you're the proper sort of Jaws fan here.
I'm jealous of a few things on there.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, but I mean, yours is sort of super spectacular. Before we sort of dive into the collection, I really want to learn a bit more about your love for Jaws, because obviously, you know, you're a fanatic. You know, you really are sort of a very committed fan. When did you first see Jaws, and what do you remember about seeing it for the first time?
Yeah, probably younger than I should have been watching Jaws, but I remember it was a late Sunday evening, and I was in primary school, like early juniors, and Jaws was on the TV, and my mum and dad were watching it, and I was really enjoying it. I was engrossed in it. They didn't quite know that I was watching it. They thought I was just messing about, and then they said, "Oh, you go to bed now," because it's like 8 o'clock or whatever. I said, "No, can I stay up and watch the end of it?" And my dad was like, "Oh yeah, it is Jaws," because my dad's a big fan. So he's like, "Oh yeah, you can stay up." I remember being so excited that I could stay up and watch Jaws that, you know, I didn't go to bed till like 10 o'clock, which is a big thing. And I absolutely just loved it. And they were covering my eyes up on the, you know, the head popping out of the boat and things like that. And yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And from there, we went up my nan's house the next day, and my uncle's a big fan, and my granddad was a big fan. And we were all just sat around my nan's table talking about it. And that then became a big tradition. Every Sunday evening, we go up my nan's house and we'd sit around the table, and we'd all quiz each other about really obscure questions, like what was the name of the Harlem Laster, and what was the license plate of the things like that. And I'd always win. And I was only like 7, 8 years old, and yeah, I used to love putting them to shame with all my Jaws knowledge. So yeah, it's a bit of a family thing, really. We've all always been into it.
That's really similar to the way that I first watched Jaws as well. I remember I was probably 5 or 6, I think, and I came downstairs and my mum was watching TV, and I couldn't sleep. I was probably past my bedtime, and like you, probably not quite old enough to watch Jaws. And my mum just said, "Well, I'm going to watch a film. You can watch that with me." So I sat down with her and we watched it, and I was absolutely transfixed. And then I think a friend of mine recorded it on TV. I borrowed the videotape, and I just kept watching it and trying to learn as much as I could, and pretended I was this junior shark expert when I didn't know a head from a tail. You know, it was one of those sort of really sort of life-changing experiences. It's what made me a film person as opposed to a music or a book person, you know. In terms of Jaws itself, what was it about that particular film that sort of turned you into an obsessive, a fanatic? Why wasn't it another movie? Like, what was it about Jaws specifically?
It was the suspense. You just didn't know what was going to happen next. You didn't know, you know, obviously the first time watching it, how are they going to catch the shark? How is this going to end? I didn't, you know, is he just going to keep turning up and eating everybody until he has no population left? It was just absolutely brilliant. And, you know, watching it and rewatching it, I was the same as you. I had it on tape then. I just used to watch. The tape went out in the end, and they bought it me. So yeah, it was just everything: the script, the acting, the music. Obviously, is a big thing, and the fear of going swimming, not knowing that, you know, I was very young. I didn't know there was no sharks in Wales and in Tenby and Spain. When we used to go on holidays, I just used to I had everything about it, and nothing's changed, and the fear hasn't changed with sharks. The script, the acting, the music, everything that there was as an 8-year-old watching, I still think is the same now. Just amazing.
And you mentioned just before we sort of started to record the interview that you've obviously got a newborn, and you've obviously got a wife. What does your wife make of this? And have you decided when you're going to show your newborn Jaws? And if so, as an age, what do you think is the right sort of age to show a kid Jaws?
Well, he's the one thing he knows now is the theme tune. So we play a little games when I go, duh, 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 he runs away, and then the suspense goes on, and I tickle him, and that's his thing. So he now knows the Jaws theme tune. You know, just 14 months old, he can't speak. He can say "Mama, Dad, Dad," and the Jaws theme tune. So it's really funny. So but my wife, it's quite a funny story actually, because my mum and dad, they very rarely drink, but the first time my mum and dad met my wife, we were babysitter for my sister, and my mum and dad were at a wedding, and they come back from the wedding, and me and my wife were watching Jaws, and my dad came in, he said, "Oh, you're watching Jaws," and my now wife made the big revelation this was the first time she'd watched it. She'd never seen it before, and she was like, 21 at the time, and my dad was like, "No, she's not the one. Get rid of her. She's not the one. I'll give her a lift on now. It's fine." So my Jaws collection is now in my games room because of the baby's arrival, and he's now toddling in and having a look at it. So she's very understanding. We've got 2 cats called Amity and Isla, and it's now been. The collection's now been banished to the games room, but I think it looks really cool because it's all in one place now. So no, she loves it, and the thing which really irritates me is that she says that she doesn't like the second bit, as in when they go off to catch the shark. She finds that a bit boring. So that's a bit of a sore subject in our house.
You did get a prenuptial agreement, right? In all fairness, I mean, when I talk to other Jaws fans about this stuff, as a couple, it's kind of like a given that you're both Jaws fans. You can't have one person that doesn't like it and one person that doesn't. It's all I think it's part of the screening process now. Maybe that's what they should do on Tinder. That should be one of the swipe right. Like, do you like Jaws? No. See you later. Well,
if you haven't got a picture wearing a Jaws t-shirt, then swipe right.
Yep. See ya. Bye. Or exactly. That's the one. Maybe that's the new app. What would you call it? Tinder for Jaws fans. There you go. We've just invented an app, everybody. Get it up on the App Store later tonight. So in terms of the movie, do you have a favourite character or a favourite moment?
My favourite scene is always the estuary scene, because I just love the way that the shark pops up on. It's just so. You just see him underneath the boat, and so that's always my favourite scene when the shark goes into the pond. In terms of favourite character, how do you pick? Robert Shaw, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Roy Scheider, the same. Richard Dreyfuss, the same. And all the supporting actors and actresses are absolutely fantastic. Lorraine Gary, absolutely fantastic. Jeffrey Kramer. So no, in terms of favourite character, no, I haven't really got it. They're all amazing. What really struck me when I went to watch it in the Albert Hall, I think you were there at that as well. Yeah, but when we watched it at the Albert Hall with the orchestra, obviously it was a big venue with lots and lots of people watching it. You forget how funny Jaws is.
Yeah,
there was loads of moments where it was such a great atmosphere because everybody was laughing in the right places, they were jumping in the right places. But there's so many funny bits in Jaws, and you forget that until you watch it with a bigger audience, and you hear all the laughter all the way through. That's something which really struck me when I watched it in a big crowd like that, a big venue.
Well, when I was at the Royal Albert Hall, we had a chance to catch up with a few sort of Jaws fans, and it was an opportunity for people to bring people who hadn't seen the movie before. And one of the things they came out with was, I didn't expect it to be as humorous or as funny as it was. They thought it was going to be a very serious, dramatic, suspenseful thriller movie, which obviously it is. But when you look back at it, there's so much laughter, and you're right, because in the Royal Albert Hall, people were laughing, even at the sort of some of the serious bits, like where Brody sort of jumps back at the shark, and it's just like, oh my god, like just that reaction from Roy Scheider when he's like, holy shit, we're going to need a bigger boat, always gets a bit of a laugh and a bit of a giggle. And when people jump at the scary parts, the people that have already seen the movie are laughing at the people who are jumping, because that was them when they first saw the movie. So the thing that when you look at these re-screenings of Jaws, whether it's in the Royal Albert Hall or just in the sort of your local cinema, if you go with people who haven't seen the film before or aren't that familiar with it, it still works. It still makes you laugh. It still makes you jump. And when you come to the end,
at the same time as well, because that's what you were talking about. You mentioned just that scene where you're going to do a boat. Obviously, you see the shark for the first time, on a funny line where he says, "Come down, jumps from this shit," and then he throws it onto the shark, and then you know you're not expecting that, and especially like you say, you watch it with people who haven't seen it for the first time. You don't expect the shark to pop up at that moment on a funny line without the music, and it's so much stuff like that in the movie, which is just brilliant.
I did an interview with the director of Santa Jaws earlier this week. It was a fascinating interview, and we talked about the craft of Jaws, and we talked a little bit about the way that the movie had been made and built, and how it's a real showcase for just how to make a really great film, even though so much had gone wrong with it in terms of obviously the shark and everything else going wrong. But when you look at that, like that bigger boat moment, you know, we've been conditioned by the music, waiting for the shark, not a funny line, and then the shark appears, and you crap your pants. But it then builds into this beautiful introduction. And one of the things that I love about it, and you mentioned Robert Shaw earlier, and that some of the obviously just the general character stuff that he does, and obviously the Indianapolis speech is just incredible. But when you look at Quint, when he first sees the shark after the bigger boat moment, after he comes out of the cabin and he joins Brody sort of in the back of the boat, you see so much sort of just fear in his eyes in that moment, and you just think, this is even beyond this guy, and this is the guy we're all relying on to solve this problem. And then for the rest of that part out on the ocean, you're thinking none of these guys are actually really in control, and they're probably just going to have to get quite lucky, you know, in end of sort of into end to sort of solve this problem. Either the shark dies, disappears, or they face it, which obviously is ultimately what happens. Okay, so this is the part that I've been really, really looking forward to. I want to dive in and see this collection.
That's where it all began in the, and that is the VHS copy of Jaws there. That was the first item I ever had, which was, like I said, bought for me because I taped the movie off the TV and wore it out. So my parents bought me the VHS copy. It's interesting down there, and obviously it's a PG. And then from there, I was at my nan and granddad's, and my granddad had the book of Jaws, one of the original novels. And even though I was far too young to read it, I asked if I could borrow it, and he said, "Oh, you can have that." And there it is. They've actually framed it because that's how my collection started. I took it home. I had the book next to the video. I thought, hang on, that's a collection there. Yeah. So when my granddad died, I framed the book, and I got a picture of us there, and little message then just say that he inspired the Jaws collection. So yeah, that's how it started. That's how I started collecting Jaws memorabilia. That's and then it just grew and grew from there. So I've tried to organize my collection with I got signed pictures and lots of really cool, as you know. Yeah, I was lucky enough to be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival to watch The Shark is Broken with Robert Shaw's son Ian. Yeah. And it was an absolutely fantastic show. And I think his speech of the USS Indianapolis speech at the end was one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen. I shed a tear over it. I'm not embarrassed to say it was absolutely incredible. So yeah, going along, I've met Susan Backley, who played Prissy Watkins, lovely lady. So I've got a few signed pieces of hers and a photograph of me and her there.
Oh, nice.
Been in contact with Jeff Voorhees, obviously played Alex Kidner. And I was supposed to go out to Martha's Vineyard for a dream holiday this summer for 3 weeks, but obviously that got cancelled. So we'd arranged to meet at this restaurant over there, but obviously it's not happening this year. Roger Castle's autograph, who did the poster. Some storyboards from Joe Alves, which are really cool. Absolutely excellent. I love those.
I love that. I think that one's amazing.
Picture of myself and Ian Shaw there.
Oh,
obviously that's just after he came off stage.
Yeah.
I'd collected over the years the three principal characters and Spielberg and Benchley's autograph, but they were on just scraps of paper and things. So when I eventually got all of them, I put them all together in a big frame. So I really love that put together. It's a funny story about Dreyfus's autograph. And it was 2:00 in the morning, and I had a WhatsApp video call come through from my friend. I was thinking, it's from Selfie. Selfie's in Dubai at the moment. What's going on? And so my friend Selfie was actually at the Abu Dhabi premiere of the new Star Wars film. He was a stormtrooper and trooping for and he was at the after party, and Richard Dreyfuss was there. And he knew that I was a big Jaws fan, so he went over to Richard Dreyfuss and asked him if he'd mind signing his. I think it's like just like a piece of paper. You can actually see the hotel logo on there in the background.
Yeah,
and
I
think Richard Dreyfuss was pretty drunk at the time, so he saw. So where is this Ben? Where is he? Let me see him. Let me see him. So I know he's not here. He's back home. He said, "Oh, that's shit out of luck, isn't it?" So he wrote Ben shit out of luck on the on a piece of paper. So that's my Richard Dreyfuss autograph there. The Roy Scheider one has Sequest on it, but love that.
And could we just go back up, because I think you had a model of a shark head up in the centre.
Yeah.
Is that right? What's that? Where's that from?
Yeah, so that's from Shark City Ozark, the two the couple who make the props of Jaws, and obviously that's replica of Bruce, not just any old great white shark. And I've had this now a couple of months. The detail is amazing. You can see they asked me how gory did I want it. So you could have no gore, some gore, or all gore. So obviously I went for the all gore. And so you can see the detail of the shark up there. So yeah, that's the shark's head. And I like that. That's front and center of the collection. If I go back a bit, that's the first thing that everybody sees as they come in above the autographs there. So yeah. So yeah, I'll take you through the different squares. This is the McFarlane model. And then going down now is my little square dedicated to the Shark is Broken production. Jeffrey Kramer's autograph there. And then the board game, which I haven't opened, which apparently is quite fun and confusing at the same time, but I should get another copy really, so I can open it and play with it. Obviously, one of the Islanders at the start of the movie. A few things in there, so there's lots of different bits and bobs there. One of the souvenir programs, the Life magazine, which is fairly recent. You can see that at the back. Mm-hmm. An inflatable Lila, which I got from Primark it's quite random. At the moment, Wilco, I don't know if you're familiar with those, they're doing quite a lot of Jaws merchandise at the moment. So that keyring I bought like last week, and there's lots as I go through the collection. You'll see a few Wilkinson stuff, including the toilet bag. So I bought 4 of those, one for the collection, and then 3 just in case. You never know. There's 2 birthday cards there, like 3D paper birthday cards there of.
Those are really cool. I don't think I've seen those before. Where did you get those?
I got them off the internet a while ago. There's a third as well. There's a Quint, there's a Mayavon, and you can see it's really cool anchor suit there. And there's a Richard Dreyfuss one out there somewhere as well, which I'm yet to track down. Going across, this is one of my favourite things in the collection. Is a signed autograph of Lee Ferrero. Mm-hmm. And a little letter, because as I said, I was supposed to be going to Martha's Vineyard this summer, and I was actually supposed to go a few summers ago as well, but that got cancelled as well last minute. Mm-hmm. But there's a little letter welcoming me to the island, and that was really lovely of her she sent me a map and all sorts of information ready for my trip, which except didn't happen, unfortunately. Going down, a really impressive model from my favourite scene of the film. The Ted Grossman attack in the estuary, and that's made by Nigel Humphrey. I've got a few of his models. The detail, this doesn't do it justice. The detail is absolutely fantastic on this, and I've got the same scene signed by Ted Grossman. A little picture behind it. Nice. Moving down, my different collections of Jaws. So I got a few different DVDs, VHS. Blu-ray, and now 4K. And even though I've got it on 4K, every 4th of July and every Christmas, it's tradition that we watch the video. I watch the movie at other times during the year, but on the 4th of July, I always watch the original video. And on Christmas Day as well, we always watch the original video, even though, like I said, the quality of the 4K one is obviously much, much better.
I was going to say, what's your favorite, sorry, just before we go on, what's your favorite sort of version of Jaws? Like whether it's VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, is there a particular set that you like to watch or that you think is particularly good for collectors to get?
I love the VHS version. When I first saw Jaws on DVD, I was blown away by the difference in the quality. And then obviously on Blu-ray and then 4K now, it just looks like it was made yesterday. Yeah. But I love the original VHS with the screen flickering every now and again, and just the grainy picture. I think it makes it more scary. I think it really adds to it, and it does transport you back in time a little bit as well. So yeah, I do love watching it on VHS.
Yeah, I'm a fond believer in sort of retro. I mean, obviously, at the time when the movie was made, VHS was the way it was going to come out initially in homes. But if you can watch the old movies in the original formats, I think there is something quite special. There's also a video on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube or possibly Vimeo, which is Sharksploitation. Have you seen that yet? It's basically a version of Jaws, really sort of made to look like an old 70s movie, and they've got more shark attack and gore in it, and it's been what's the word, it's been sort of looks like an old cracked movie, like you're watching the original negative or something. That's really interesting to watch. I'll send you a link to that. That's fascinating to watch. That's really interesting.
Brilliant, thanks very much. Excellent. I've got just one square dedicated to the sequels. I do love the sequels. I'll say it. I'll just put it out there. I just love even 3 and 4. The Revenge. I think they're brilliant. I'd rather, obviously they're nowhere patch on the original. We know that, but I'd rather them be there than not be there. And you know, Jaws: The Revenge always kicks off my Christmas film list collection, followed by Die Hard. So I do like the sequels, and I got a picture there at Universal Studios with the boat from Jaws 2. There's a picture further on of me and Neptune's Folly, somewhere from Jaws: The Revenge. So yeah, I've got a few things from the sequels dotted about, but obviously the main part of the collection is the original there. Going back up, this is a square dedicated to the ride at Universal Studios in Florida, and there's a few things in California there. I was lucky enough to go on the ride in Florida lots of times. I think once I rode it 7 times in one day. I just thought that was brilliant. And I used to spend a fortune on the stall outside as well. And when it closed, I think this is one of the most random things in my collection. When it closed, I managed to get hold of, off the internet, a copy of the standard operating procedure and training manual for the ride. So if you're ever wondering, you know, what happens in the case of a fire on the Jaws ride, how they exit from the Jaws ride and the script of the Jaws ride and everything.
How did you get that? I've never even heard of that. Where did you get that from?
When it closed, I put it out there. I think I wrote to Universal Studios or something like that, and then somebody got in contact with me and they said, "Oh, I'm selling like a copy of it if you want it." So yeah, it wasn't even expensive. I just thought it was really fun to have, and I read it as well, which is I think even more.
Is it better than the Jaws: The Revenge script, or?
It's more believable. At least the shark stays in amity on the ride. So
that's brilliant. That is so unique. I've never heard anybody have that. I think the only other person that might have that is possibly Jim Bella, maybe. But I'd have to double check with him. But that's really cool. I like that.
This is what one of my wife's favorite things of the collection. This is a scented Jaws ride candle. So it actually smells of the Jaws ride. There's a company, I can't remember their name. Does it say on the back? No, they specialize in candles based on rides at Universal Studios. So they've done an ET ride, a King Kong ride candle, and a Jaws ride candle. And there's a particular bit on the ride where they go into the boathouse and it just smells of like petrol and fish and as a boathouse would smell. And if I take the lid off that candle, it smells of the boathouse and the Jaws ride. It really does. It's quite clever. So yeah, that's quite the unusual part of the collection.
Really cool. I was going to ask, like, what does a Jaws ride smell like? Because I didn't get the chance to ride before it all shut down. So petrol and fish. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, pretty much. And fear. That's the one. Been on lots of roller coasters over the world and things, and I love rides. But genuinely, the only ride which scares me is the Jaws ride.
I won't ask you what fear smells like, because that might not be appropriate.
Fish and petrol.
That. That's such an unexpected piece of a collection. I think that's brilliant. I think a lot of people are familiar with the obviously the book, about the Jaws ride and some of the merchandise. But I think the operating procedure manual is brilliant, and that candle, that's fascinating, because I've got a candle here as well that was made by Commonwealth Dry Goods, and it was kindly given to us by DJ Duke, I think his name is. I haven't actually lit it yet, but smelling it just sort of smells like difficult to describe, like a blue fragrance, if that makes sense. I haven't actually lit it yet, but I'm hoping it doesn't smell of petrol and fish, or else my housemates will be like, what are you doing in your room, Ross? But anyway, that's fantastic. I love that. That's brilliant. What's next?
Moving down, I got some 3 of the figures there. And then this is the only connection I've got with any sort of prop from the ride. In the queue for the ride at Universal Studios, behind glass, you got Quint's fishing rod there, the harpoon gun, and the jacket, Brody's police jacket there as well. So I had a picture taken with those, which is a really great part of my collection. I really love that. Obviously, they're not there now.
Sorry, how long was it taken?
I always go by which football shirt I'm wearing. So, on the first day of every holiday, I always wear my Manchester United shirt from that season, so I know what year it is. So that would have been 2008. Is that right?
Yeah, because this is one of the things that, I mean, I know obviously, movies move on and things like that, but with the Jaws rides, there was a certain history there that you could sort of immerse yourself in before you got to the ride. And it's a shame that these rides sort of close. I mean, obviously, I think it was one of them was replaced by the Harry Potter ride, and it's going to be a massive draw and a real money maker. And I think, I mean, one of the trips that I'm planning to make is to Japan, so I can actually see the full Jaws ride that they've still got there. I've not heard any sort of rumours that they're looking to close it, but I think with a lot of these theme parks now, particularly with COVID and stuff like that, they've just got to try and maximise the opportunity commercially as much as they can. So I'm not holding my breath or going to leave that trip too long, I think, because I'd love to experience a full-on Jaws ride, because that's got to be something pretty special. And obviously you've done it. How many times would you say you've done it? You said you did it 7 times in a day. How many times do you think you've done the Jaws ride in total?
We went to Florida 3 years in a row, and then they closed it, so we didn't go the next year. I mean, I haven't been back since they closed the ride. So I pretty much out of protest as well. The Jaws ride was Universal Studios. You did ride the movies, and that was the original ride. And I know they shut King Kong and they brought it back as like an enhanced version, like up to date and everything. But the Jaws ride was the Jaws ride, and that will always be Universal Studios. So I rode it. It must have been at least 40 times over the 6 weeks in total we were there.
And was it just you?
My wife
was your wife having to go with you every time?
Yeah, she was on it all 40 plus times as well. So yeah.
I need to do an interview with your wife. Let's do like a Jaws Anonymous, Jaws Partners Anonymous support group. How do you deal with a Jaws fan, and how can other partners support their partners in their obsession? That's part 2 to this. That's part 2 to this.
Don't mention part 2 when you interviewed part 2 of the movie.
Wicked. Those figures, by the way, I managed to get a set of those. The 3 figures. I ordered the shark as well, but it never arrived. But those figures now, if you look online, they go for about 150 quid a pop. I had it quite rare now.
I had a really random story involving the Quint one, because I pre-ordered the 3 of them, and they only sent Brody and Hooper, and they said, "Oh yeah, sorry, we didn't send Quint," and now we're sold out type thing. And I was on holidays in Spain, and I was in a little town called Torremolinos, in just a gift shop type thing. And there was randomly on the shelf was Quint. And I thought, this is too good to be true. I picked it up, took it straight to the counter. It was like €5 or something, and she dropped it as she was putting it in the bag, and it fell out. The whole plastic snapped, fell out, and his arm fell off. So she offered to give it me for €4, but I didn't bother, and I came back and I bought the other one off eBay when I got home for a lot more than €5.
Yeah.
But so it was a bit of a random story.
Oh man, you could have got Quint for €5. God, that would have been an absolute shocker. It's weird when stuff like that happens, isn't it? It's really bizarre. But you've got all three of them, which is great. And I think you've got one of the sharks as well, haven't you? I think.
Yeah.
Is that the one with the tank, or with Quint in it?
It's not the non-bloody version, that one. So that should be the normal one. Yeah.
Because those sharks are pretty rare now as well. It was a really limited run. Yeah. I'm gutted my one didn't arrive. Anyway, moving on. So that's fantastic. So what's next?
So this is a square dedicated to John Williams. So I've got the record, some of the CDs, and then his autograph, and one of the rare they call Mundo vinyls.
Yeah,
which
I've
is
got one of those.
It's got lovely artwork and things inside it. Apparently, because again, I've never opened it.
I've never opened mine. It's going to be one of my unboxing videos, I think. But yeah, it's some of the artwork on there is stunning.
And then I got some of the programs and tickets from the Albert Hall show then, which we talked about earlier. Going down to the bottom, I got a little section of, that's actually Robert Shaw's house there where he was born, near Bolton. So I went up to there and found his house, and then opposite his house is a Weatherspoons, which they call the Robert Shaw. And in my collection somewhere, I've got a couple of menus from the Robert Shaw pub in Bolton, and there's a sign dedicated to him outside. And I got pictures with that and everything. So that's there's another picture of me outside the Robert Shaw Weatherspoons there. Nice. I'm not sure if you can quite see that. So just some random bits dotted about. Carl Gottlieb's autograph there, Meadows, and obviously the screenwriter. Back up to the top, I got the they call Funko Pop
these are
figures.
Cool. I love how, I don't know if it's me and if it's the lighting, but Roy Scheider's or Brody's one looks tanned compared to the other two. It looks like they've incorporated his tan, doesn't it? But yeah, these are three things that I'm yet to get. But whenever I go online to get them, I can only ever seem to get one of the three. That like the other two aren't sort of available. I know Quint is very sought after, and not many. I don't know if there was a limited run of those, or if people just really love Quint. But yeah, those are three things that I really want to add to my collection if I can, because they just look really cool. I think they're really well done. And you've got the little shark behind there, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah, there's two versions of the shark. I think this is the one without the tank, and then down the bottom there's the one with the tank. So I think there was a third version of that as well. Eventually, I think they released one version, then a tank version. They thought we can get some more money and we'll release a bloody version of that one as well, which I haven't got. But that's all the Funko figures there.
Lovely.
Going down is a copy of the game, and then got like the game section. So I think that's the Amiga game, the PlayStation game, the Nintendo game.
You still got poster have you still got the consoles, and do you still play the games?
No. I couldn't get into I couldn't get into the Jaws PlayStation 2 game, if I'm honest. I couldn't really get a grips with that one.
Have you played Maneater, the shark game that came out this year?
No, I've seen it advertised, but I haven't played it.
That's quite an interesting game. You play as the shark, and you can power up and all that kind of stuff. You can sort of earn abilities and crazy stuff like that. That's quite good fun, actually. It's like GTA on acid, but you're a fish. It's it's pretty cool. It's good fun. But question for you. I mean, we're similar age, I'm guessing. How old are you?
36.
36, yeah. So there's about 5 years between us. In terms of games and stuff, I mean, I'm still just about gaming. I've got a PS4 that I play occasionally. But do you think, there's a good time now for a Jaws video game, like a proper Jaws video game where you're, maybe you're part of the shark and maybe you're the crew, or you can sort of swap roles like the Aliens versus Predator games? What do you think?
Yeah, I thought I'd really like to see is a Lego version of the game, because I think the Lego games are really fun, and I think that would be the right sort of level to it, if you know what I mean. I think they'd really capture the story. I think that Jaws Unleashed game, it was just the sharks swimming around eating and destroying lots of random things. But I think the Lego series would find a way of somehow sticking to the story, if that makes sense. 'Cause it's obviously quite a difficult game to make if you're going to stick to the story, because if you can just get out of the water, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, exactly. That's a brilliant idea. That's a great. Well, we're trying to get a Lego Jaws set sort of petitioned with Lego ideas at the moment. So, okay, let's see if we can get a Lego Jaws game as well. I'd play that. I would absolutely play that, because I've played the Batman one and Indiana Jones, and I love those. I thought they were great fun. And the Star Wars. So yeah, that's a great idea, mate. Okay, nice one. And you've got the sort of the Jaws Buckaroo game there. Is that right?
Yeah, so I got one version which I think came out in the 80s, and then an older version up there as well. So
that's the original.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, again, never played it, but it looks fun.
When your kid grows up, it's going to be really difficult to keep them out of the room, because they're just going to want to play with everything, aren't they?
Yeah, he's going to come in this room when he's 18, I think. And at the back there, there's many years ago now. Well, this must have been about 20 years ago. The National Lottery were doing a Jaws version of scratch cards. So luckily, my dad went in the shop and they were doing the promotion, and he asked if he could have the display card. And there's a couple of tickets there as well, which I didn't scratch off for ages, but my parents were like, well, what if you've won? You could have won. I was like, I can't destroy the cards. But eventually I scratched them off, because I didn't win the £35,000, but I kept the card for my collection.
God, can you imagine if you had the winning ticket and you didn't scratch it? Okay. So what's that in that red box? Is that playing cards?
Yeah. They seem to be dotted about on eBay from time to time. There's two different versions of them. There's a red box and a blue box as well.
And what's the thing just in front of the playing cards?
I'm not quite sure. It's foreign. It's got Toboggan 2 or something.
Oh, it's one of those one where you pump it and it sort of jumps the ball, sort of like a mini.
Yeah, like a pinball thing.
Yeah.
But it's got pictures of the original Jaws on there, but it's called Toboggan 2. So yeah, not quite sure about that one, but yeah, it's kind of a game, so it goes in the game square. Cool. And then moving down, we've got another picture of myself and Susan Blackney. Like I said, I managed to meet her twice, which was really great. Mm-hmm. These puzzles here, I'm really pleased with these, but I just managed to finish my collection. There's 4 puzzles altogether of different scenes from Jaws. I had 3, and I was literally once every 2 days on eBay. I type in Jaws puzzle for about 5 years to see if the other one would come up, and it never did. And in the summer, I was typing it in, and it came up. It was the right one I needed, and I bought it straight away. Somebody obviously didn't know what they were selling. He sold it to me for like £6, including post and packaging, and it must be worth a lot more than that. Awesome, so yeah, I've got all 4 of the puzzles now, the different scenes of the film. And one thing always used to confuse me when I was younger, because one of the scenes is a deleted scene from the film. Probably the last one I pick up. Yeah, so that's the it says actual scene from the spine chilling film, but obviously it wasn't in the film.
Yeah.
And this has come out recently, the blockbuster puzzle.
Yeah. Really
fun stuff in there. There's like a VHS play on VHS cardboard, and there's lots of things inside there, but I haven't opened it. So there's lots of these things I've got. There's lots of really great things inside them, but I'll never get to see them because I don't want to open them. And then down to the bottom, it's quite hard to see this, but there's about 20 different Jaws t-shirts in there. And
Do you have a favourite?
some there's a few like tank tops and vest tops which I'd never wear. So I quite like the Jaws 19 Back to the Future reference one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, that t-shirt, isn't it?
And I got there's a couple of pairs of Jaws boxer shorts as well. So yeah, there's a few different types of Jaws boxer shorts on display in the collection.
Are they the George range?
The one was George Master, and then
I bought a couple of those.
Like, those ones you put them in water and they become boxer shorts, which I haven't done. Going back up to the top, this is another of the sculptures by Nigel Humphrey, as I mentioned earlier. The 3 barrels one. The detail on the water, I'm not sure how well it's coming out here, but it's really, really good. And I've got one of the Paul McFree prints in the background there. Nice. Got a few of them dotted around the house as well in frames, the Paul McFree names. A few of the books there.
Do you have a favourite book?
That one there, Memories from Martha's Vineyard. For any Jaws fan, it's just the detail they go into about how it was made. I think we're really lucky as Jaws fans. There's 3 fantastic books out there about how it was made. Obviously, got the On Location by Edith Blake. The Carl Gottlieb Jaws log is like a Bible for Jaws fans as well. But I just think because it's modern as well, but the pictures and the stories and the detail gone into Memories from Martha's Vineyard, I think it's an absolute stunning book and a really, really good read. Yeah. So yeah. And there's even a Jaws novel in here, but there's a novel about Jaws fans. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one by
Crispin Haskins.
Crispin, and it's a really great book, right, about the Jaws first murders. I really enjoyed it. It's really, really fun and well written again. So, how many movies has got books? So many books written about the making of it, and novels based on fans visiting the locations of a movie. Do you know what I mean? That's got to be a first, surely. So.
Oh man, well, we ran a competition in November. It was a short story competition to run alongside the National Novel Writing Month, and we just said, look, write a short story, 1,500 words, and I think we kept the entries open for like 3 weeks, and we had over 50 entries. And some of the ideas that people had about alternate Jaws universe stories or prequels or whatever it is, amazing. There's a whole market out there. There's so many people out there that want to put their own spin on the Jaws universe and stuff. So it's not surprising at all that these people, that there are so many books out there and so many stories and stuff, because people are just so passionate about the film. They love it.
And the Amity Island summer kit, which I bought 2 of because it's got loads of stuff in there, which I wanted to display. So I kept one which I've got wrapped up, and then one with a bit started about the place. I
was just going to say that's a regular in our Christmas guide. People seem to quite enjoy that, as you say, because there's just quite an array of stuff in there. So it's good to see you've got it in your collection.
No, I like the little letters out there in the Amity Gazette and things like that. It brings it to life a bit. It's well put together. And then moving down here, these are some of the ticket stubs I got from watching Jaws in the cinema. I've seen it quite a few times in the cinema, obviously the different re-releases and just cinemas which happened to be showing it. And I remember the first time I saw it was in my local cinema, and it was obviously, it must have been the original production reel, and it kept cutting out, and they leading up to the scene where the shark pops up the water, it just completely cut out and the lights came on, and we were all sat there waiting for it to come back. So so we saw an original reel, but there's been many re-releases, as you know, since. This is quite new. Again, that's for sale at the moment, the Mug and Sock set in Wilko. Bought those last week. These were in, I think it was Sainsbury's back last year, the pizza cutter and the bottle opener. And so it's getting really dark down here. There's a lunchbox at the back there, that you can't really see, and a water bottle. Going back up to the top, there's another sculpture there.
Oh wow!
This time of Christine Watkins, what's left of her.
Where did that come from?
And that's another one by Nigel Humphrey. So I've got 3 of his. So yeah, it's quite creepy, the detail in there. You could have a version with the crabs as well. So with the crabs hanging off it, which is really cool.
Wow! And what about the big arm, the big fake one? Is that Nigel Humphreys as well, or is that someone else?
No, that's a plastic. That's just a prop that we had a Jaws themed. My family and I hired a cottage for my 30th birthday, and we had a Jaws themed night. So we all came as dressed as different characters, and my father-in-law was Richard Dreyfuss, so he brought that with him. So he was doing his autopsy. So yeah.
This is one of my favourite things. This is so funny. This one. Does he still have batteries in him? Does he work?
I don't think it's working. No, that'd have been a shame. No, unfortunately, it's not working.
Sorry, I've got a video of it somewhere else. It's just one of those pieces that makes you laugh, doesn't it? And whose autograph is that just behind there?
Yeah, so that's obviously one of the boys with a fake fin, and I believe he's a police officer on Martha's Vineyard for Edgartown Police. Yeah, so I got his autograph there. The other one made him do it.
Boom, boom. Very good. Very nice. And what have you got just down there? Now that I don't recognise that box. What is that?
That's the box for the game. So that's like an updated, re-release type version for that game. It's quite awkward to fit in the collection. It's quite bulky.
Yeah.
A mobile phone case, a T-shirt signed by Jeff Voorhees. That's his restaurant's T-shirt on Martha's Vineyard. And then going down right at the bottom, there's so many clip-ins and magazines and different bits. Yeah, so there's everything is Jaws themed in here. So you got lots of different magazines which have some sort of Jaws reference in it.
Nice.
And then that was a program for my 30th birthday. Just clip-ins and just all sorts of random bits and pieces from the movie, bits of magazines, just clip-ins which I've stuck together, just pictures which I've just stuck on pieces of paper. And yeah, so there's loads of stuff in there. There's towels at the back.
Ben, that was awesome. Thanks so much for taking us through your collection and answering our questions. It's amazing to see different people's different takes on the collections and stuff like that. And yours is definitely one of the most complete I've ever seen in terms of just the detail you've gone into in terms of the books, the copies of the film, even the little cubbyhole around the Jaws the Jaws ride. And I'm blown away by the operations manual. I think that I didn't even know that existed. So that's amazing. And to say that it's even better than the script for Jaws: The Revenge and more realistic is saying something, I'm sure. So before we sort of wrap up, have you got any advice or top tips for anybody that's looking to start a Jaws collection or maybe develop what they've already got?
It's a strange collection. I'm quite glad that I'm not like a Star Wars fan, because I think I'd be bankrupt with all the stuff that's out there, because it's such an old film. It was a lot, it was one of the first, obviously it was the first summer blockbuster. It was one of the first. There's my cat, Isla there. So Amity is, Amity's around somewhere. So we've got 2 cats, Amity and Isla.
Amity's out, fish, no doubt.
Yeah. So yeah, there was lots of stuff at the time, and those bits which came out at the time are quite hard to track down, but it's quite a unique film in the sense that, I don't know if you've noticed, but recently there's been lots and lots of new official Jaws parts coming out. Like I said, Wilkinson the other day, they were selling official Jaws hats and key rings and socks, and HMV. There's always new official universal Jaws things coming out. So if you want to start your collection, you would probably walk into your local HMV or your local shop, in like a memorabilia type shop or like gaming type shop, you'd probably find a Jaws something there. And then going back further, and there's so many great fan sites out there, and great people out there on Jaws social media pages and things who share their collection, and you always look. And what I love about going on social media is seeing people's collections from different countries and think, oh, I'd never seen that before, because that's obviously unique to their country, and I'd love to have that. Or where's that come from? And then you see there's like Spanish writing on it or something. Oh, right, that's the. So I really love that. I love the different collections from the different countries as well. So yeah.
Well, I think that's a great shout. I think, yeah, just, go on the fan sites. And as you say, Jaws is super popular now. Obviously, it's the 45th anniversary this year. But I think with people's just creativity and their ability to sort of express themselves using that technology, whether that's through sort of just sketching something on an iPad as a design or whatever it happens to be, whether it's a T-shirt, a 3D model. I mean, obviously this, the Bruce Shark UK, these guys started just as two friends. I think it was in their garage or something, and they just thought, well, we'll have a go at printing some stuff, and now they've got this amazing range of products. So I think there's plenty of stuff out there for Jaws fans to collect, and I think there will be continuing more stuff to come. I think I think Universal are pretty generous with the license, and I know that they partner pretty closely with the people who do have the license to make sure that things are on brand, but also to the standard that that sort of Jaws fans sort of expect and demand. So I think the future of Jaws in terms of collectibles and future merchandise, I think is in great hands. In terms of your collection, is there anything that you feel is missing or that you'd really want to sort of complete it?
Well, I love my Jaws poster from the re-release back in 2012, and I managed to get it signed in person by Susan Backlini and Jeffrey Voorhees. I sent it to him on Martha's Vineyard. I'd love to get a few more autographs on there, if possible. That's what I'd love to do. So that's my plan. And the world's a bit smaller now through the internet, so a couple of emails back and forth here and there, you never know, I might be able to send it off to. I was supposed to meet Richard Dreyfuss before as well, like a talk with him in London, and I bought the VIP pass so I could see him and get my poster signed before that, but it was during the volcanic ash outbreak, so so he couldn't get over there in the end. He couldn't get over to London because of his flight got cancelled, so that got cancelled. So I feel a bit jinxed in terms of meeting Richard Dreyfuss, because there's a few times I tried to meet him, and COVID and volcanic ash clouds and different things keep getting in the way. And it's the same with my dream trip to Martha's Vineyard as well. Like I said, twice I've booked it, once being this year. And it hasn't happened, but I'll get there one day, and when I do, we'll have to get a bigger house, because anything which says Martha's Vineyard, Jaws, Amity, anything is just all coming home with me. And my dad had actually arranged to come out for a week to spend some time there as well. Like I said, he's a Jaws fan, and he was bringing 2 empty suitcases, which he was just going to bring home with him, because he knew that I wouldn't be able to bring it all back myself. So he was planning on bringing every T-shirt, every tea towel, every paperweight, whatever it is, I'd be bringing it back. So I'd love to obviously go to Martha's Vineyard. That's my dream. That's my number one on my bucket list of one. So that would be amazing. And it wouldn't happen, but I'd love to have some sort of prop, anything from the film, whether it was the crab's claw from Chrissy Watkins' body, or a piece of wood from the orca, or a piece of sand from the Amity Beach, or anything like that. I'd love to have something, an actual prop which was used in the movie. And I think that'd be the ultimate. I have this reoccurring dream sometimes, which I've got the fin out of the movie, which is really weird. It's just in the backseat of my car, and I'm driving around, and I'm coming home from somewhere because I picked the fin up. And the Jaws fans have that dream that they've got the fin from Jaws. But well,
apparently there is someone who does have. I think they've claimed it's the original fin, and it's Charlie Sheen of all people. He's a massive fan of Jaws. It's like I think he said that and Apocalypse Now are his 2 favourite movies. And Jaws, he's got a mini display in his house. He's got one of the yellow barrels, and he says he's got the original fin from the movie. So I could drop him an email
Yeah.
So my mate Ben,
In my dreams.
yeah, so £5 final offer. See what he says. You might go for it. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
So yeah, I think in terms of props from the movie, I think that's a really good shout. I think it's really difficult, isn't it? I think a lot of these things are kind of sacred now and they're sort of really well protected. I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to seeing is Bruce, the restored version in the Academy Motion Picture and Science Museum in LA that opens up in April. I'm really looking forward to seeing that because I never thought in my lifetime that I'd get to be able to see a full size restored Bruce, and I don't think many other people did either. So when obviously Greg Nicotero took that on and has done such a beautiful job with it, I was very lucky. I met Greg a few years into the development of the project, and he showed me some of the rough photographs. And when you look at what it is now, it's absolutely incredible. So I'd really like to see that, and I'd also like to see some of the hands-on props as well, like Quint's harpoon gun, or some of the barrels that we used, all that sort of stuff. That would be
things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And sort of get hands on with those and know that you're holding a piece of history. I was lucky enough to hold the clapperboard at a London prop show auction. That was the clapperboard. I think that sold for £70,000.
Yeah,
which is mad. I was £1 short. I bid 60. But yeah, just get your hands on some sort of something sacred from the movie. I think you're absolutely right. Is a great thing to try and aim for.
I think that's one of the most disappointing things about Martha's Vineyard being cancelled this year, because the Martha's Vineyard Museum they were having a real big Jaws 45th anniversary display and exhibition, and they were going to have lots of props from the movie there. So again, I could have just gone and seen, like I said, a piece of history and had pictures. I was in the same room as all these Jaws props and things, and I think it's going to happen next year. So instead, but that sounded like a real big event.
Yeah, I was really gutted as well because obviously the Shark is broken. That was going to start its London run, later this year.
Yeah, tickets for that as well.
Yeah, I was so looking forward to that. There was so much great Jaws stuff that was going to happen this year. So Martha's Vineyard Museum, obviously the Shark is broken, and just the general sort of excitement around the movie and it achieving this, still amazing relevance and power in this year, and to celebrate that anniversary. Obviously, I think Jaws has still been relevant this year, but for maybe some very different reasons to what we thought, as we sort of said before, around lockdown, yes or no, beaches open, yes or no, that kind of thing.
Elections as well. He seemed to be popping up in elections.
Exactly.
Shane Mayo was in the second movie type thing. We saw them going around.
Yeah, get out and vote, or else you'll vote Mayor Vaughan back in again. But what I'm hoping is that once the COVID thing settles down, all of these things that we've been hoping for will happen. The Daily Jaws has got some plans of its own as well for some quite exciting stuff, but like a lot of organisers and venues and things, we just had to sort of hold back and just sort of wait and see sort of what basically is possible, because this year has been one of those years where you're just like, this could have been such a great year, particularly as it lands on the 40th anniversary of Jaws, but it is what it is. Well, Ben, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us tonight. It's been a real pleasure for you to take us through your collection. As I say, it's absolutely epic. Puts mine to absolute shame. That's not half of my collection, by the way, so I'm going to try and restore some pride. But that's all I could reasonably fit in the background. But yours was incredible. Thanks again for sharing it, and thanks for those tips as well around sort of collectibles. I think it's a great time to be a Jaws fan. So on that, I'll leave the final word with you.
No, thanks very much. I really enjoyed it, and I really loved showing my collection off as well. So thanks very much, and happy Jaws hunting, and farewell and adieu.
Cheers, Ben. Good to talk to you.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider liking, commenting and sharing the video, subscribing to the channel and clicking those all important notifications. For more great Jaws content, visit thedailyjaws.com.